My life is a movie, believe when I tell you so. Nisama kayabo kokoliko, nisana jogona kokoriko, nikuluma papake ivyo ivyo.
Welcome. This is season 2 of Behind the Glory, and this is your host, Samba Ralph. The theme of this second season is evaluation. Why? Because I believe that we all get to that time in life when we have a lot of questions we can't get answers to. I want to use this to first of all thank God for still being alive. I think we take it very casual, the fact that we still be living. But I started this year in a very kind of tragic way by losing a close friend in a car accident. It happened actually on the 1st of January. And this is my friend Marvin Wamboa. At the beginning of this year, I posted a picture of me reading this book. Everything is fucked. And this is by Mark Mountain. This is an author that has been quite inspiring to me. First of all, because he doesn't chew his word. He's very candid and real. He will tell it to you as it comes to him. And these are the type of literature I like to be exposed to. So I posted a picture of me reading that book with my sling, and it looked quite desperate. A lot of people asked me, "Oh, what happened to your arm and everything?" And I said I should use this episode to talk about it. In this episode, I'll focus on lessons that I learned through my skydiving accident. I'll give you 3 main lessons that I learned. Whenever people have been asking me what happened to your arms, I say, "Oh no, I was involved in a fight and I broke my arm." I think I've been using that explanation because it's quite easier to explain than saying that I had a skydiving accident. Because in that they will ask, "Okay, how did it happen? Did you land and broke your arm?" Believe me, if this happened on ground, I'll probably not be here talking to you. So I'll give you the details in this episode, the lessons that I learned, what really happened. So first of all, this year 2023, I had a lot of plans. You know how you can make 1,000 plans, then life tells you, "Hey man, make your plan," but I have other plans. This is exactly what happened. 2023 was the year that I decided to take a sabbatical. So what is a sabbatical? It's actually that year where it happened every 7 years. That's why the name Sabbat for 7. And I decided to make the 7th year of mine a year where I'll get to relax. I'll get to move around, enjoy life after 6 long years of, working hard and being involved in different projects that was really consuming me. I said I should take this year to spend it with family and friends and move around and, quite enjoy the good things that life can offer. There's a reason why I was working hard either way. After doing Mount Kilimanjaro, I'll show my experience in one of the other videos. After doing Ruwenzori, those are the 2 highest mountains of Africa, I was looking at something that would really, really pump it up. And this is when the idea of going for a full solo skydiving course came in my mind. And this idea, I got it I think 4 years ago when I did my first tandem jump, and this was with Skydive Dubai. I really want to thank Skydive Dubai. That was such an experience, and the idea came after we jumped out with the instructor who had me in tandem, and we're just cruising in the air and having this beautiful view of Jumeirah, the beach. And that's when the guy told me something I will never forget. He went like, "Oh, welcome to my office." And I was like, okay, as interesting. I spend my days on a computer, and I call it office. Look at what this guy is calling office. I think I should go for something like this. It should be fun to, have an office with such beautiful view. And that's when I said, when I can and I will afford it, let me go for skydiving course. Now, for skydiving, when you want to learn to jump solo, there's this course that they call the AFF, that goes for accelerated free fall course. So you're meant to do 7 jumps with instructors, but you having your own rig, your own parachute. And they take you through the main important activities that will eventually allow you to graduate to do solo jumps. And you have to do continuous jump up to 25 jumps to have your A license. A license meaning that you can now be able to be jumping alone and keep accumulating jumps. The AFF course starts with one ground course, that is a ground class, where they teach you all the safety measure that you have to go through before you go to jump, because they believe that you have to build some muscle memory on emergency procedure to do if you are to jump alone, just in case you have those malfunction in air. Remember that when you're jumping out of the airplane, you're actually in free fall mode before you open your chute. But that free fall mode position is the most, it's fun, it's breathtaking, it's full of adrenaline, but it's also the most dangerous. You have to build muscle memory for this emergency procedure, just in case something happens, because you need to react fast, otherwise you're gone. But I don't want to scare you. I also want to tell you that it's quite interesting, and statistic has it that very, very few skydive accident happen out of 1,000. I think there's this statistic about 1 accident or 1 death out of 1 million jumps, so it's pretty minimal. On my 8th jump, which is that was my D2, my category D2, which is a jump that you do with one instructor, but you're supposed to step out of the plane alone with no one holding you, unlike the previous one where you have instructor holding you by the side and stabilize you. But this one, you're supposed to step out alone and stabilize yourself, do a couple of stunts, which is a 360-degree turn and another 360-degree turn, and then keep falling up to when you have the altitude of opening the parachute, which is 5.5, and you open and continue with your landing. And this is actually where this happened, but it was my 8th jump because I had to redo some other jump that I didn't pass properly, and that's how it accumulated to keep to get to that 8th jump, which if I didn't redo, I will actually be doing my solo. The plane we were using was Otter. Otter, I don't remember the model, but you'll see it in the video. So it's a twin wing, it's actually twin engine, and you can have the wind facing you because you actually open up and face and be behind the blade, the engine, and you have actually all that wind coming to you in the face. So that's the most scaring time. But in this jump, I'm actually supposed to jump out, to step out of the plane, face that, look at my instructor, and after we have the signal, jump out of the plane and stabilize. So when you step out, that's the most scaring time. So what really happened is I stepped out of the plane, faced the wind, looked at my instructor, and jumped out of the plane, where I was supposed to put myself in a normal free fall position where I curve my body and be stable, and then continue with my stunt. And when I stepped out, try to get stable. I didn't accumulate a lot of time in the tunnel, and I was quite unstable. And this is because of some mistake that I will actually share. And when I stepped out, I got very unstable, started spinning very fast. And the emergency procedure, when you're in a position where you're overspinning with no control, you're supposed to do the 5-second rule, where you count up to 5 seconds. And if you still don't get stable, you're supposed to pull out your parachute. Actually, you pull it out with your right arm. Can't do it. You pull it out at your back, and it pushes you out. So after I was overspinning, that muscle memory kicked in and told me to count up to 5. Counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and nothing happened. I was still spinning. So I pull out my main parachute. But in that position of spinning, I was not in the right position. So when I pull it out, I was still at 10,000 feet, which is pretty high to pull out. So when I pulled out, this parachute pulled out very fast and twisted my arm in actually a spiral way. So I got a spiral break of my right humerus, but this happened very fast. So I pulled out. I felt a heavy kick here, and by then I didn't know that I'd broken my arm. So actually that position, I lost one of my shoe. So one of my shoe just went with the chute, and I didn't even think about it. And this is still happening in the air. And after I pulled out my parachute, luckily there was no malfunction. My parachute opened, had a little bit of a string twist, where actually your parachute is open but the strings are twisted. So with that, I was supposed to do some movement to open it. It's still also a malfunction, but not that dangerous one. So I twisted and everything became stable. But in that twist, I was meant to do the 3 checks, where you actually check if your parachute is all open, if your slider is down, and I think you have another check. I don't remember. So once you do that, I saw everything was fine. I was actually to do the check with my tago, to pull on the right and pull on the left and the right, and see if my parachute is responding well. And when I was doing that, so I pulled my arm, took my left tago, and wanted to pull my right arm to do my right tago. And when I checked, I could not see my right arm. And I remember I was having this kind of sharp pain in my right arm. So I got scared. I thought I had actually cut my arm, because it was really a heavy shock. And looking down, I saw my arm swinging. And remember, this is happening at about 9,500 feet. My arm was swinging. And this was a very, very chilling moment, because I had a full overall, so you can't see what happened in the arm because it's covered. But looking at it swinging, I actually thought that I'd cut my arm, because my head was feeling like I've lifted it, but I was just lifting the upper side of the broken side. And this is when I just said the word that was scary. I went like, fuck. So my first reflex was to try to move my fingers. And when I saw that I was moving my fingers, I got a little bit relieved, because I realized that it was not cut. And I decided to hold the side of my trouser. I decided to hold the side of my trouser so that the arm doesn't be swinging. Now, at this moment, I believe my survival instinct just kicked in to tell me that, you know what, whatever has happened, you need to survive this jump. So I only had one tago to control my move with the parachute. And remember, you're in the wind, so you need to control the two, and it was quite a windy day. So otherwise you will end up on a building or you'll end up on the highway, because we had a pretty high highway. This was in the desert campus of Dubai Skydive, and this happened in the desert. Luckily it was not in a city or in a town or in a place with a lot of trees, because it would have been more different. So I decided to head to the desert, because here you have a lot of sand, no building, no obstacle. It's the best situation, a best place to be in such a situation. So I used the balance with the wind and my target to practically move toward the desert. And I was having instruction from my instructor, who was actually behind me, and when all this happened, tried to catch me, to stabilize me. But with all the spin and everything, I think he caught me at some moment, but I kept spinning, so I got out of his arm. So what he did, he went very, very fast to land and started using the radio to give me instruction. But this was a one-way radio in my helmet, so I can only hear him, but I can't answer him. So he was like, oh, come back to the landing zone, come back, trying to encourage me. That was well done for using the 5-second rule, but come back now to the landing zone. Now with this one arm, the place where I wanted to be away from was the landing zone, because in the landing zone you also have you have also the sort of small landing area for the plane, and you don't want to be in the way of the plane, because if it happens, well, it will just go through you. It can't risk the life of more people while you are through it. So I kept pushing to the desert and went slowly, just managing and balancing, and somehow managed to land by doing a full flare. For people who know what this, the full flare is where you actually brake when you're near the ground to land, but you have to do it with 2 arms. Now that I have only one arm that was on, and I had actually tried to use my left arm, lifting it to remove this one shoot, but it couldn't be done, so I did it with my left arm, and just pushed it out to remove the brake. And anyhow, fast forward, I managed to land without breaking any other bone, and that's when the sharp pain from my right arm started to be felt. I laid on the ground in the middle of the desert. It was so sunny, and by then when I was up, I was not really feeling the pain because it was quite cold, which was good for calming down the pain. But when I got on the ground, it get hot and it was so painful, very painful. But somehow I was so happy because I escaped the worst. I was like, oh, this broken arm is not a big deal. So fast forward, the emergency team came to me. I was a bit far from the landing zone, about 1 kilometer. So they came to me and picked me. They had already called the emergency ambulance, and the guys were already on ground. So they stabilized my arm by putting it in a position that it won't pain, but it was still painful, and took me to hospital. And that's how I survived a skydiving accident. And I'm very, very, very happy that I survived it. And I'm looking at this broken arm as as something that I can take. So about it, if you look at it from the scan, my arm was broken in 3 bits. So 2 bits up and 1 almost near the shoulder. And with that, I had to undergo a surgery where they had to open and put quite a metal and drill some screws to join the bit so that it can actually heal and get back to normal. This was a very fast surgery that was done still in Dubai, and this was from a very good and specialized hospital called Fakeeh hospital, if I remember. And the lucky thing is I actually took my insurance. Now, to people who do such activity, adventure activity with risk, I will highly recommend you to always take insurance that covers such activity. I've taken the IMG Patriot travel insurance, which cover extreme sport, and I'll share the link here for anyone interested in it. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the IMG team because they did such a wonderful job in supporting when this accident happened, because they had a team on standby to follow up with my hospital, and everything went as smooth as you can experience. For an insurance company, that's a big up. So that's what happened. Broke my arm in a skydiving accident. Not to tell you that it's not to discourage you from such activity. If it's something that you want to do it, but always do it from a place where the tech safety are the highest, and this was this place. And also always take your insurance just in case anything happened, but otherwise you need to enjoy the fun. So what are the lessons that I learned out of it? I learned 3 main lessons, and this has been timed in a very special way because they actually allowed me to see things in a different way. The first lesson that I learned is the fact that we should not fight life. By fighting life, I mean take things easy, take it easy, relax. In all activity that you do, enjoy the fun. Don't overthink it and take it easy. Why this was happening, I remember when I was doing my tunnel time, that is in the artificial setup of training, one of my instructor for the ground school told me that I was being so stiff. It's a place where you are supposed actually not to fight the wind. You have wind coming to you, and every single movement that you do has a huge impact in your stability. And she was telling me that I was very stiff. Now, why that happened? Because it's because I'm used to other sport like bodybuilding and other activity like biking and all. And in this activity, you want to use a lot of energy, to have an activity. If you are doing some push-up, it's activity, it's energy that you use, and you have to stiffen your body. And that's when I was actually doing that activity, and she told me that, hey, why are you being stiff? Relax. I remember she used to tell me that quite often, to relax. This is when it came to my mind, because every time I was there, I was being stiff. Now, that is one of the reasons why I lost stability, because I was supposed to be in a free fall mode, and I was supposed to be relaxed, following the proper position by curving my body, pulling my legs in about 40 degrees, and my arm to be, in a symmetrical position. If you do that in the air, whatever you do, you get stable. But I believe I was holding my arm so hard, and every single movement started spinning me. Now, when you spin, now your mind is gone, and all this is happening so fast, you panic, and that's what happened. So, at this moment when I'm in this lack of control time, when I have to rely to other people, to rely on my wife to get me ready for some time and all that, I just decided to let things flow. I know, yes, a lot of questions come in your head and everything, but then just relax. The second lesson that I learned from this is follow the process. And why I'm saying this is because of the accelerated free fall course. I actually wanted everything to happen very few days. I had planned it for 4 days, where I was saying that every day I would do a minimum of 3 jumps, and if I have to redo, maybe it will be 1 extra day, and by 4 days I'll be having my clearance to now start doing my solo jump and accumulate some jumps so that I can have my A license. The way I had a lot of things planned. I was meant to do this jump. I was meant to go to school. I was meant to visit these places and all that. And I'm like, oh, wait, follow the process, as a training, as everything that you do, as this video that I'm doing. Sometimes you want it to be spotless and to be like high degree and all that, And sometimes you just need to follow the process. Go and learn and train and get time to come back and relax. Have your muscle memory built. Go for another one. The day when this happened, this was actually my second jump. And if it wasn't for one of the jump where we went up and students were not cleared to jump because of the weather, then that would have been my third jump of the day. Now, the previous week I'd done already another 6 jump and everything. So I was like, wait, why are you going this fast? I actually believe, it's not that I'm against that, I actually believe that accelerated free fall course should be, paced out and go easy. I believe everyone who wants to do an AFF should get time to really do enough tunnel time. By the time you jump out of that plane, you know how to control yourself in the best way. So I really do believe that sometimes we need to respect the process. We need to go easy with things, to accept that you have a time to grow. Ronaldo didn't become Ronaldo if in 1 or 2 days. He got time to train about it. And that's the way to go about it. So that's my second lesson. Respect the process. And the third lesson that I learned out of this is not to regret. And this one is actually one of the one I've relied on the most myself, actually, especially in this time, is not to regret. The no regret time and the appreciation time. And why I'm using that is because after this accident happened, I went in a stage of a lot of regret. A lot. I have to mention it that when this happened to me, the first thing that kicked into my mind was, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I even doing this? It's not that like I'll use it professionally and everything. And I started having a lot of this regret. I'm like, I was supposed to be with my daughters at this time. I was supposed to do this. Of course, that's the time when you remember what matters to you the most. And that was my family. Like I left my daughters. What if I died now? What will happen to them? And I think it's not an easy step because it keeps happening. But what I've remembered is not to regret things. Much as it has been an accident and it has been a hard time, but it has also been a life-changing time to myself because it got me time to appreciate things for the best, to know how fragile life can be. I saw the fragility of life when I saw that one side of me was totally numb, that I had no control over, that I could not move. In that moment when you're used to be all fit and everything, and then you just see that, what? This can happen? You're in the moment when you can't move your own arm and you're still young. So that was like a way of seeing half of my body dead. And my wife asked me a question that when I was in hospital, she told me that I told her stuff that was quite different from what I can say normally. I was telling her, I'm very sorry to put you guys in such a moment, put you and the kid in such a moment. Of course, I regret it because I didn't want her to see me in that position. I was in hospital and she had to travel to come and help me. So in all those moments, I started telling her, it's not something that I want to expose you and the kids in, and I'm really sorry and everything. But after 2 days, she told me after 2 days, I started telling her, to have some peace with my mind, I think I should go and finish the course. Actually, I was 3 jump from finishing the course, and I'm like, the biggest battle I'm going to be fighting will be the battle between the two sides of my brain. One that will be telling me, don't be a coward, go and finish that course, don't chicken out. And the other side of my brain that will be like, hey, man, you need to relax. Remember what happened to you last time. But if you ask me, if when this is done and I get full control of my arm and I'm all well. Will I go back for it? That answer, I think it's for myself. But otherwise, I want to thank you for sticking up with me. I want to thank you for watching Behind the Glory. And this is season 2. We're going to have more episodes. The book recommendation for this episode is Everything is Fucked by Mark Manson. Go get this book. I think it should be in your library. And for the Mabanga moment, it's a tradition we do in this, the Mabanga moment. I want to thank every single one who's been supportive in this moment, sending me messages, encouraging message. And I'll start first of all with the biggest support that I had in this moment. That's my wife, Christelle Uacho. Thanks for that. You know, I always know you'll always have my back. I also want to thank my friend Emery, who's being very supportive in this moment. Hey brother, thank you. Thank you a lot. And I want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers and sister. They all panicked, but I think God is not done with me yet. I also want to thank all my other friends. This is Chani, this is Armel, this is Wani, this is oh man, there are plenty. I don't know if I'll mention you all. This is Biggie, this is Kubi. Thanks a lot for this support. This is Behind the Glory, and we're back with the second season, so let's do it. Otherwise, next time we're going to talk about other lessons that I learned from another misadventure. The lesson that I learned when climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. So stay tuned in. Until next time, bye.